Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to look at annotating chapter 5, but we're going to do something a little bit different. So instead of focusing so much on our book text, so this document right here, I've posted a document that looks like this right over here. It's called Evidence Tracker Themes, and I don't know if it will let me annotate this one. Let's see if I can. No. So I can't use my marker over here because it's not my primary window, but this is the one we're looking at, Evidence Tracker Themes. So I've got my text pulled up over on one side and I've got my evidence tracker on the other side, and I'm going to show you kind of what your goal is today. So we have finished we finished the letters, and then we finished chapters 1 through 5. So the goal now is to kind of wrap up what we've done so far. And mainly what we've done so far is track these 4 themes: parent and child relationships, beauty and ugliness, rejection from society, and fate and destiny. All right. So today the goal is to do a couple of things. Let me pull up my stickies so I can write down your goal. So first, you're going to answer the Annotation Organizer questions for chapter 5. Once you finish that, you're going to complete the evidence tracker chart with quotes from chapters 1 to 5. So what I want you to see here is this says answer the questions for chapter 5. You do not have to go through and do your highlights, because you're going to be putting that information on this document anyway. So it's okay to leave chapter 5 kind of blank in the text. You're going to fill it in over here, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. And then you're going to complete this evidence tracker with quotes from chapters 1 through 5. So you can use any of the 5 chapters here to fill this chart in. So let me give you a brief overview of what this looks like. So I've got my text pulled up over on this side, okay? And the first thing that I'm going to do is scroll down to chapter 5. So I've got chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So chapter 5 is this kind of brown color. I'm going to make this a little bigger for the moment being. So the first thing that I'm going to do today is go through and complete my annotation organizer. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm pressing buttons. Okay. The first thing that I'm going to do is fill in the questions on my annotation organizer. Now, this section of the book starts with Victor's creation. So he's going to go through kind of what the monster looks like, how it feels, his fears, his nightmares. That's what this is going to go through. So you're going to answer these questions on your annotation organizer. Remember, if you have a question, if you don't understand, if you need help, email or text Miss Mac, okay? So the first thing that you're going to do is answer these questions on the side. You're going to tell me how Victor felt when he saw his final creation. You're going to tell me how the creature's looks right here compared to the monster that we normally see, the cartoon version. And then you're going to tell me a little bit about his dream here. So again, you're going to answer these questions. Same here, you've got a poem. You're going to tell me why Shelley includes it here. You're going to make a prediction here. I just realized I'm pointing at the screen and you guys cannot see my finger. You're going to see this. You've got a question here. So again, the first step on this is to answer the annotation organizer questions for chapter 5, all of these that are on the side. And because you're working on this and you're filling in this evidence tracker, I will not post a check-in. So your check-in, what I'll be essentially grading or giving you feedback on, are your annotation questions on the side, and then your prediction questions right here at the bottom. I forgot to put that on here. So answer the annotation organizer questions for chapter 5, answer the prediction questions in the lavender box at the bottom of your text. and then complete the evidence tracker. So again, these are your goals for today. There will be no check-in. I will check your annotations and your evidence tracker. So before I move on to show you about the evidence tracker, remember today's goal is to answer the Annotation Organizer questions for Chapter 5, answer the prediction questions in the lavender box at the bottom of your text, and complete the evidence tracker chart with quotes from chapters 1 through 5. There will be no check-in. I will check your annotations and your evidence tracker. So let's look at that evidence tracker. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at these 4 themes: parent and child relationships, beauty and ugliness, rejection from society, and fate and destiny. And basically I'm making a little chart. The purpose here is to allow you to kind of have a synthesis. All these little pieces of the themes, we're putting them together. And as you see, I've put 5 boxes for each theme. Now you have freedom here. You can fill in chapter 1, a quote from chapter 1, from chapter 2, from chapter 3, from chapter 4, from chapter 5, or you can just pick the 5 best quotes, okay? The main thing I'll be looking at is that you filled in your chart here. So I'm going to go back and find a good quote about parent-child relationships. So I'm just looking for what I've highlighted in green. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it right here. So I have the exact quote. I haven't had to do much more work. And I'm going to say what chapter this is. It's chapter 1. And I'm going to look at my text to see what page it's on. It's on page 3. And I just found that right here. So now going back over here, I'm going to look at this analysis. So here's the quote again. It says, his daughter attended him with the greatest tenderness, but she saw with despair that their little fund was rapidly increasing and there was no other prospect of support. So how does this show the theme? Okay, if you recall, you might have to go back and read around this, but this is about Frankenstein's mother and her relationship with her father. Okay, what Mary Shelley is trying to show us here is that Frankenstein's mother loved her father even when times were tough. Okay, his daughter attended him with the greatest tenderness, but she saw with despair that their little fund was rapidly decreasing and there was no other prospect of support. So Frankenstein's mother loved her father even when times were tough. That's kind of a summary of this quote. Now, why does this matter? Okay, this is the part where you kind of have to push yourself because I can't exactly tell you what to write in these scenarios. So you kind of have to trust yourself to make the next step. And I'll show you a couple of examples to kind of get your mind in that space, but you kind of have to push yourself. So why would Mary Shelley want to put this in? Well, to me, what this shows is that a child's love for their parent can be unconditional, right? There's never a time that Frankenstein's mother would not love her father. So I think that this shows me this is an example of unconditional love between a child and a parent. Unconditional love is possible. So if I know Mary Shelley's looking at parent-child relationships, why does she give me this example, right? And I'm thinking maybe this is just her way of giving us an example of really solid unconditional love between a parent and a child. So that's my analysis here. And again, this is the part that may be tricky for you, okay? Push yourself. It's okay to make a guess, right? You are not the author. You are not Mary Shelley. And essentially what you're doing is guessing what's in her brain. So it's okay for you to make a little bit of a leap. Let me show you one more example. So I'm going to go back to my text and I'm going to find an example of beauty and ugliness. And I've got one right here. So let's go ahead and pull that. And this is about Elizabeth. Oh, let me do my chapter and page number. Let me not get off track. I'm still in the blue section, so I know that's chapter 1. And what's my page number? My page number is page 4. All right, so let's read this quote. Her hair was the brightest living gold, and despite the poverty of her clothing, seemed to set a crown of distinction on her head. Her brow was clear and ample, her blue eyes cloudless, and her lips and the molding of her face so expressive of sensibility and sweetness that none could behold her without looking on her as of a distinct species, a being heaven sent and bearing a celestial stamp in all her features. So essentially when we get to the analysis, remember we're thinking, why would Mary Shelley include this? Why did she put it in there? Okay. And first of all, let's summarize this a little bit. So this quote shows how beautiful Elizabeth was as a child. Now, going back to the text, I remember that Frankenstein's mother saw Elizabeth and decided she wanted to adopt her, right? It was her beauty that made Victor's mother interested in her, okay? And even in this quote, even if you don't remember it, he says, none could behold her without looking on her as of a distinct species, okay? Anyone that looked at her noticed how beautiful she was, and she was set apart because of her beauty, right? So this shows us that because Elizabeth was beautiful, people in the world looked at her differently. Now I'm going to make a little bit of a leap here and assume that she was treated I'm trying to think of a good word here. She was treated specially. She was treated as a special person. I'm assuming here that people gave her special attention. They were partial to her. They focused on her. She was treated differently. So I got this quote about Elizabeth, and I'm combining that with my context, my knowledge that Elizabeth was adopted by Frankenstein's mother because of her beauty. So I'm putting those two things together, and I'm saying this quote shows how beautiful Elizabeth was as a child. This shows us that because Elizabeth was beautiful, people in the world looked at her differently. She was treated differently from others, seen as special. Again, this analysis portion may be tricky for you. This is a good chance for you to email me or text me your questions after you get your quotes and your chapters and page numbers in. If you get stuck, you can always do this. Select your quote, put a comment, and if you put at and then my name, I'm struggling with the analysis. Can we talk about it? Okay? Now, this, if you press comment here, it will automatically send me an email to let me know that you're struggling here, and it will take me right to your Google Doc to discuss it with you. So if you're struggling with your analysis, just at me, let me know what the issue is, and I'll join the discussion. Okay, I'm going to press cancel right now because I don't want to send myself an email. So as you're filling in your quote, your chapter and page number analysis, if you hit a moment of concern, select your text, add a comment, and at me, okay, so that I can see this and know to help you with it. So by the end of today, I want you to have your quotes and your chapter page numbers filled in, and I want you to at least begin your analysis, okay? Tomorrow's lesson, we will not add a new chapter quite yet. We'll be going back through these themes and making sure we all understand what we're doing. We've all got a good list of this evidence. So make sure that you are getting your evidence tracker filled in. And again, comment and at me if you need any help. All right, that is all for Chapter 5 annotations. Remember, no check-in today. Just work on your annotation questions and your evidence tracker.